Picture this: a sunny morning in suburban tranquility shattered by armed men in fake HOA uniforms, a brutal assault on private property, and a daughter who arrives from Washington, not just to comfort her father, but to reveal she's an undercover FBI agent. This is a tale of deception, intimidation, and the ultimate takedown of a multi-state fraud ring. You'll witness forged documents, staged hospital visits, social media smear campaigns, and high-stakes confrontation as real authority collides with counterfeit power. If you love unraveling twisted true crime dramas with jaw-dropping twists, like and subscribe for more. Trespassing. Hands up now. The shout cut through the morning calm in my garden. I could barely move, my old injury flaring as one of the men hoisted what looked like a pistol at Anna. They wore navy polo shirts with HOA security team printed on badges, complete with forged IDs and clipboards. But this patch of earth, with its wooden fence I built myself, belonged to me. Bob Mitchell, 62, retired from a construction career, and owner of this land for 15 years. My daughter's arms stayed at her sides. They had no idea who they were threatening. To make sense of what happened next, I have to rewind to the start. I'd never signed any homeowners association documents. No notices ever arrived in my mailbox about new community rules, and neighbors hadn't hinted at any HOA takeover. That morning, 3 men strolled up to my gate like they owned the place. The leader, a stocky 40-something, flashed a laminated badge. "Good morning, Mr. Mitchell. I'm Jake Harrison from the local HOA security," he said in that forced friendly tone, showing me a fake ID. "We're here for a mandatory compliance check under the new Community Standards Ordinance." My gut screamed that something was off. "I've never joined an HOA. This is private property," I replied, keeping my voice even. Harrison's grin didn't reach his eyes. "Sir, the ordinance covers every home in this subdivision. Cooperation is required." Tommy Brooks, the second man, was already snapping photos of my house. Danny Carter, the third, jotted notes next to their unmarked white van. Their badges listed no contact details, no official office, just empty jargon. Worse, they knew personal things. My daughter's visits from Washington, my late wife's car covered in the garage. Someone had been spying on us. When I refused them entry, Tommy swaggered close to the fence, threatening without words. "You can comply now or face enforcement procedures." I braced myself on my porch rail, the same rail I'd replaced after a storm. "Step off my property before I call the police," I said. That's when Tommy shoved me down the steps. I landed hard, pain exploding in my ribs. They didn't check if I was hurt. They packed up and left. Harrison smirked back. "We'll be back, with enforcement." And with that, their van roared away. 6 hours later, I woke in a hospital bed with broken ribs. Beverly Patterson walked in as though on cue, flowers in hand, looking every bit the sympathetic HOA president. "Mr. Mitchell, I'm so sorry you were caught in this unfortunate event," she said in a practiced tone. "We're investigating internally." How did she know where I was? Within minutes, she was outlining the growing pains of the new HOA, dropping hints about how involving lawyers would only prolong the drama. She positioned herself as the reasonable mediator, but her eyes betrayed something cold, something calculating. Why rush here unless you'd planned this? That night, morphine haze. Aside, my phone rang. "Dad, what happened? I heard you were assaulted." Anna's voice carried that blend of concern and steel I remembered from her teen years when she defended me against troublemakers. "I'm on the first flight out." Anna arrived bleary-eyed but precise, inspecting my ribs with unexpected medical skill. She wasn't just Dad's worried daughter, she was observing every detail. "Tell me exactly when these men showed up, how they approached, what they said," she insisted, notebook and pen at the ready. As I spoke, Anna jotted notes like a pro. She asked about logos, paper quality, the phrasing on the IDs. When I mentioned their knowledge of our family schedule, she underlined that twice. I realized I'd never really known her line of work. Later that afternoon, Beverly reappeared in the hospital, another bouquet of flowers. Anna sat silently, notebook closed, but I saw her calculating expression. Beverly launched into her corporate-style damage control, training challenges, policy updates, internal reviews, never admitting guilt. She urged us to avoid lawyers, to keep things amicable. Anna just nodded, but I sensed Beverly was meeting a predator ready to strike. Back home, fake violation notices slid under our door in the morning light. Paint color non-compliance, parking infractions, each fined $250 or more. I stared at the stack, steaming coffee growing cold. Anna studied each letterhead, photographed every page. All discovered on the same day, same inspector, within 2 hours. This isn't legitimate, she said, pointing out inconsistent fonts and print densities. They're banking on scaring you, not authenticity. Within hours, social media lit up with posts on the neighborhood forum. Mitchell's refusing new rules, troublemaker resident. The accounts were newly created, grazing the same phrases like a premeditated smear. My neighbors started avoiding me. Isolation was the weapon. Less than a week later, the patrol returned, this time 6 men in 2 vans with makeshift radios, consumer-grade cameras, even handcuffs. They parked strategically, filming every movement. Anna tracked their shifts in a small log, noting call-away moments and shifts in formation. They're coordinating in real time, adjusting when we call the police, she observed calmly. I felt trapped, but Anna treated it like a field operation. She'd watch them from behind curtains, then slip out to collect evidence of their behavior. She cataloged license plates, radio frequencies, uniform patches sewn on instead of embroidered. Their mistakes will be their undoing, she promised. Frustrated, I wanted to sue, go to the press. Anna urged patience. We need to map their entire scheme before we trigger anything. If we rush, they'll vanish. I exploded in anger. This was my home, my life. As we argued, Beverly knocked on our door once more, playing peacemaker. Anna took mental notes while I nearly bit her head off. That night, Anna made a 3-minute, 32-second call from the porch. I couldn't hear her words, but I timed it. Something about her confidence unnerved me. Was she coordinating a defense or strategizing an attack? 3 days later, I hit my limit. I'm calling a lawyer, I'm going public, I shouted in the kitchen. Anna looked up with that same calm. Let's hold off a bit longer. We're close to closing the loop. My frustration boiled over. How could she defend their cautious pace when I was bleeding in my own home? Before I could answer, a knock. Beverly stood there, another peace offering. She proposed wiping some fines in exchange for compliance. She made it sound generous. Anna pretended to weigh the offer, her eyes darting. When Beverly left, Anna turned to me. "Dad, I'm ready to move," she said, voice almost conspiratorial. It felt like we were pawns in someone else's game. Then, on a crisp morning, the fake security team expanded to 8 men, gear upgraded, belts loaded with what looked like zip ties and radios. They formed overlapping fields of surveillance, blockades for our exits. This was escalation, not community management. "Stay inside," Anna ordered, checking her phone. "I'll handle this." She walked into the yard with hands open, empty, a gesture disarming and bold. Harrison barked, "You're trespassing on HOA-managed property." She stopped 10 feet from the fence. "Show me the statute that gives you this authority," she asked softly. "Which HOA? What are your security licenses, badge numbers?" They expected her to quake. Instead, their composure cracked. Harrison moved toward his holstered pistol. Anna tilted her stance, shifting the angle so his line of fire wavered. "Identify yourself and explain the legal basis for pointing a weapon at a private citizen." Harrison froze as each question chipped at his bluff. Their radios crackled and the men glanced at each other. Then Anna uttered words that hit them like a blow. Federal jurisdiction. The shift in their demeanors was instantaneous. Terror replaced bravado. Anna reached into her jacket, drew a leather case, and flipped it open. Special Agent Anna Mitchell, Federal Bureau of Investigation. You're under federal investigation for fraud, impersonation of law, officers, and assault. Harrison's hand shook. The others looked ready to bolt. She clicked a small radio on her belt. Control, this is Agent Mitchell. Suspect secured, request federal arrest team. A calm voice crackled back. Copy that. Units en route, ETA 3 minutes. I stood in stunned silence at the window, watching my daughter transform from a concerned visitor into a command presence orchestrating a federal takedown. These criminals had no clue whom they'd challenged. Moments later, unmarked SUVs screeched in. Tactical agents emerged, cuffed Harrison, Brooks, Carter, and the rest. The fake HOA was history in our driveway. Anna turned to me. Dad, I've been on this case for months. These scams push homeowners toward foreclosure and sales, netting millions. Beverly Patterson, real name Beverly Chen, ran this ring across the Southeast. Federal indictments have been ready for a while. Your assault sealed it. I felt a tide of relief and awe. My daughter wasn't just a government worker with paperwork, as she'd claimed. She'd been undercover, building evidence, waiting for their moment. 3 days later, Beverly Chen called a community meeting in the local center, clearly thinking she could control the narrative. 60 neighbors packed the room. Beverly launched into a presentation full of charts on property values, quotes from satisfied residents, and promises of smoother compliance. She feigned sympathy for my injury, rebranded the arrests as a personnel glitch, and urged unity. Anna sat beside me, pen in hand, recording Beverly's lies. Then she stood. Ms. Patterson, or should I say Ms. Chen, please provide the HOA incorporation papers and homeowner signatures authorizing your actions. Beverly's face flickered. They're with our legal team for updates, she lied. Anna opened her FBI badge. I'm Special Agent Anna Mitchell, FBI. You're under arrest for interstate racketeering, fraud, money laundering, and impersonating officials. The room went silent. 60 neighbors watched as the woman who'd terrorized them was cuffed before their eyes. Anna addressed the stunned crowd. We've been investigating this scheme for 8 months. Ms. Chen targeted this community as part of a multi-state fraud network. All fines she collected will be returned and federal restitution is underway. Neighbors who'd once crossed the street now shook my hand, apologized, and thanked us. Mrs. Clark brought cookies. The young couple next door returned my mower, admitting they'd paid over $800 in bogus fines before the arrest. Now they'd get every cent back plus compensation for their stress. In the months that followed, legislation, informally dubbed the Mitchell Family Protection Act, moved through Congress to tighten rules around HOA authority and punish impersonation. Anna's field office adopted the patterns we uncovered in training for future fraud investigations. One evening, 6 months later, Anna joined me in the garden with a bottle of wine. The last victim just got restitution, she said, smiling. Every stolen dollar recovered. She toasted, to exposing fake authority and protecting families everywhere. I raised my glass. Are there other families still in danger? I asked. More than you'd believe, she replied, eyes serious. But now we know how to spot the signs, gather the proof, and bring real justice. As the sun set over my restored garden, I realized our story was about more than one family's fight. It was proof that when real authority stands against counterfeit intimidation, truth wins and deception unravels. If you'd like more stories like these, please like and subscribe.